Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Being That Person. We have taken a gap of almost a week in the middle, and the love and the response kept pouring in. So, I want to thank you all for that. That despite of me not being very active on social media with this podcast, you guys have still, responded to all. The reels and the IGTV videos and the messages and the YouTube videos that I made. So thank you so much for that. And out of all the responses that we have received, we have picked up two. So let's begin and address these two concerns that we have received. Hi Shama, how are you and how have you been since the past 2 weeks?
Siley, I am good, and yeah, past 2 weeks have been good. What about you?
The past 2 weeks have been very productive for me personally as well as professionally. And despite of not being very active on social media with respect to the podcast, many people have still reached out to us. And out of the lot, we have picked up two concerns of two different people. And I will read out what they are right now. So, the first concern that we have received is a person that says that I think I a lot about what people have to uh, say or think about me, no matter what I do. I do a lot of hard work in my business and I don't know where I am going wrong or where I am making mistakes. I want people to get to know me more and encourage me, but they all keep running away. And the third point in the whole concern is that I talk to very few people and I find the need to socialize and I find it very difficult to do so, especially those who are from my school. Ps, I have moved countries and I have very few friends. And the second concern being that I feel life is stagnant and I feel emotionally unavailable and disconnected to things or the people I like. So these are the two concerns that two people have shared with us. And Shama, can you please let us know how do we go about the first concern?
If we see first question first, um, person has said that I feel judged. Second, two things which I heard were I need encouragement and I try my best, but I try not to make any mistakes. And I'm not in touch with my friends or not communicating with my friends enough, and old friends also, school friends also. So, first, we can take up judgments, like people judging. Everybody is judged since childhood. Like in the school, we are judged. By friends, we are judged. By parents, we are judged. And we internalize it. So we start judging ourselves because we want to please everybody. The normal tendency is to please our parents, get their approval. So we start judging ourselves the way our parents or our caregivers or elders in our family would judge us. So first we start by judging, if I do this, will they like it? So you have created a small miniature judge who represents them inside you. That judge is sitting inside you now. And as you grow up, it becomes a habit. Then that judge is always there and judging you like the others would judge you. So that slowly, you have to recognize that judge and talk to it and probably say that you're not required anymore. Maybe you can relax, and not judge so much. The second thing is, I need encouragement and I try my best not to make mistakes and I want to grow. I put a lot of effort in my business. That kind of words I heard. somewhere this judge is always judging you, and so you don't feel the encouragement. So if I am not happy with what I do, because I judge myself, I'm not saying that you did your best and I'm happy with what you did, I'm happy with your efforts. This voice is not coming from inside. What is coming from inside is judgment from all those small judges, or one judge who represents all the people who judged you as a child, or whose approval you were seeking, right? So this judge is not helping you feel encouraged, because you constantly keep feeling that, oh, I could have done better, I could have done this or that differently, or I could have done that which I didn't do, or why did I say like this. So all these voices obviously are not going to make you feel encouraged, because they're always finding faults, they're never saying what you did well. So you're not able to see what you did well, you only see what you don't do well. So you need encouragement, and so you only see mistakes. So you have to work on that judge which is sitting inside you, and be very nice, be very polite. At that time, it has served you. In the childhood, I want to be very clear, don't start hating that judge. It's a part of you, so don't hate it. That judge made sure that as a child, you got the approval and care from your parents, which was needed in that age. Your teacher's approval at that age was required. So this judge helped you. But now it has done its purpose. It's done. It can retire. So be nice to this judge, and slowly, slowly, all those judgmental thoughts which come to your mind, you can remove and say, thank you, I don't need it anymore. Thank you, I don't need it anymore. And I want to see what all I did well. So whenever you are counting the things which you didn't do well or you could have done better, count the things which you did well together with it. That will help you. And then once you stop judging yourself, you'll be more open to show your vulnerable side, be with your friends, not worry about being judged. Because again, the same, when you go to your friends, you feel that you're being judged. Then you won't feel free, you will feel the burden and you will not go to them.
Does it happen that when we judge ourselves, we cut off the people that we are socializing with, and the kind of people that we can talk to or we can approach when we need? And because this person specifically said that I want to approach and I want to socialize with my old friends, but I'm not able to do so, and these people are from my old school. As well as I wanted to ask that is there also an external need for approval, and an external factor that there has to be some sort of an approval that can only be satisfied by the old friends that this person has?
Information is not enough for me to say that, whether he is feeling that, what exactly is the need for connecting with old friends. I was assuming that everybody wants to be connected with old friends, because there are old sweet memories and we always want to experience that in some way or the other, or remember those memories in some way or the other. Because school days, many people cherish, some people don't, but most of the people, they cherish those memories, so they want to keep in touch with old school friends. It may not be a need for just approval, or that those friends will always like me, not that kind of. But yeah, there is a deep connection with somebody whom you have been in the childhood. You've spent time with them in the childhood, so yeah, that need is very normal, but I won't read too much into it. But yeah, since you're judging yourself, it makes you less open, and then you become less open to old friends as well.
The person who gave us this concern said that people run away from me. So, is it true that people are running away from us, or is it that internal judge that tells us that a person is running away from us when actually the person is just trying to lead their own life? Because we can't always be in that codependent and a dependent relation with everybody around us. We need to prioritize ourselves as well. So does it happen that they are just trying to lead their own life, but we see it as running away?
Both could be true, depending on incident to incident. Both could be true. One is that the burden that we have inside of being judged and seeking approval or being dependent on others, that is felt by others. So they're actually running away from us. But then feeling sad is okay, but avoiding them because they are running away from me or not approaching them is not the right way. You have to open up and ask them that I felt that you are avoiding me. Maybe I'm right or wrong. Can you tell me? Like, maybe uh, it's not very pleasant to be around me. Is that so? Just ask them. And then, whatever feedback they give, first you have to decide not to react on that, because they might say some things which you don't like at that moment. But then decide and then ask for feedback, that you will not react on it. Just listen to the feedback. Even if you feel sad, just hold that sadness and come back home and think about it. Why did this person say like this? Can I trust this person about their feedback? Initially, you will feel angry, sad, a lot of emotions might come. But once all those emotions, and in during those emotions, you should not be reactive. Not even in front of that person, and not even later in the chat, emails, and all. We might write stinky messages afterwards because we want to express our anger. You can say, I feel hurt, I feel angry, I feel sad because this feedback is difficult to take, but not really blaming that person for that, because you asked for feedback and they gave feedback, whatever was true for them. And then you have to process it, sit and process it. You can take help of trustworthy friends and tell them, I asked for feedback, this is what I got, and it's really difficult. But don't start blaming them for that feedback. So that is one thing. And the other is, sometimes, yes, it might be a normal thing, like somebody doesn't have time and they said, I need to really rush, and you took it personally and thought that this person is running away from me because you feel judged and you feel that you're not good enough, because all the time you're telling yourself that you're not good enough. So there is a part of you which believes that you're not good enough. So you will feel that this person is trying to avoid me because I'm not good. So both the things could happen. Really, genuinely, they might be avoiding, or sometimes they might not be avoiding, and you may read it like that. But the first step is to stop judging yourself. Second step is to take feedback, not be reactive about it, and process it.
Moving on to the second question, how do we deal with this emotion of being stagnant and emotionally unavailable? And how do we process that kind of an emotion?
So what I hear is feeling disconnected, emotionally unavailable, and life is feeling stagnant. So, what happens? Why do you feel disconnected? Basically, you're not able to connect with the feelings inside. And there could be many things which are coming between you connecting with your feelings. So, what could those things be? We will cover that today. And life also feels stagnant because you're not able to fully live it. You're not feeling yourself. So you're not emotionally connected to yourself. You're not reading your emotions and feelings and fully living them moment by moment. So there is no change in life. It seems so boring, dull, and stagnant, right? So this emotionally unavailable, disconnected, and life feeling stagnant is all related. So let's go to how we acknowledge our emotions and feelings and how we live more fully, how we be more available to ourselves. Okay, so what could be, like, first thing is we don't have feelings and emotions vocabulary. As a community, we don't talk about feelings and emotions so much. Like, it's okay to talk about a loss and say that I'm sad, something big happens, it's okay. But day to day, do we talk about our feelings and emotions in our day to day talking? We don't. So we're not even aware of the vocabulary. So people who want to explore more can explore NVC. NVC was created by Marshall Rosenberg, and there is a book called NVC by Marshall Rosenberg. You will also find a lot of resources online. So NVC does that. First thing is to connect with your body sensations and your feelings. Okay, so these are the NVC cards I have. So these many feelings I have, and there are more. This is the stack. Okay, I'll read some of them for you. I feel curious. I feel alert. I feel confident. I feel embarrassed, indifferent, guarded, jealous, guilty, excited, amazed, grateful, thankful, empowered, satisfied, affectionate, empathetic. So I read only these many, and this is the whole stack. So you need to go to CNVC site, or just check for NVC nonviolent communication. Check the list of feelings, increase your vocabulary. So when you do self talk, you can talk about your feelings. Otherwise you don't even know. So once you start reading these feelings, so whenever I have clients, I hand them this stack, and then they are able to, once they read, and then whichever feeling they stop at, they know this is the feeling I'm feeling. So you can have this tag, or you can access the online list, and that will be good. Second thing is, I know I'm feeling jealous, or I know I'm feeling lonely, but I'm judging myself. I shouldn't be feeling i shouldn't be feeling this. It is bad to feel jealous. It is bad to feel lonely, right? So I'm judging myself, so I can't connect with my feelings. See, feelings are like weather. They happen, you don't do it. They happen on their own. So if it is raining, you have to say it is raining. If it is cloudy and gloomy, you have to say it is cloudy and gloomy. If it is sunny and hot, then it is sunny and hot. There is no point of you judging it. No, 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 it should not be cloudy and gloomy, so I will not tell anybody that it's cloudy and gloomy. It doesn't make any sense. You feel jealous, I feel jealous. If you don't want to say it to somebody else, fine, say it to yourself. I feel jealous. Write it down. I feel jealous. If you don't acknowledge it, how are you going to go deeper into it and see what is actually happening? Right? So, whatever, you feel jealous, you feel lonely, fine. So, I feel this. This is the first step. There could be guarding. Now, what is guarding? That if we talk about our feelings freely, like I am feeling very raw and sad, then I am vulnerable. I am feeling very scared that you will leave me. Vulnerability. Maybe you never found a safe environment to be vulnerable. So you're guarding yourself by not expressing your feelings, because then you are vulnerable. Fine, don't express in front of others again. At least express to yourself. The more emotional intimacy you develop with yourself, the more will be reflected in the relationships that you have. If you're not emotionally intimate to yourself, you can't be to anybody else. So we all want good and intimate relationships. But are we doing it to ourselves? We want encouragement, but are we doing it to ourselves? That is the main question. So, three things: vocabulary you have to develop. You stop judging your feelings, just say them as they are. Third is, learn to be vulnerable. Don't guard. If you're not finding a safe environment, at least when you're alone, it is safe. And make it safe. Don't judge your feelings. So, make it safe. So, these are the three ways to acknowledging your feelings and emotions.
Does it happen that we focus more on the situation versus being more focused on the feeling that we have in that situation? For example, I can, say that when somebody asks us how are we feeling, we start to share or narrate all that has happened to us, instead of actually talking about how we feel. And when we narrate the whole story, we expect the other person to understand uh, and judge the narrative and understand how we felt at that moment. And we kind of seek approval for our story. So, how do we go about that whole situation?
The narrative and somebody wanting to understand, acknowledge that narrative. Actually, nobody can really understand your situation, what you've been through. If I tell them that I went through this, they don't know the entire background and the stuff which is around it, which only I can feel. They can't really see it in that narrative. That narrative is too short to explain everything. So, normally, the narrative doesn't help. First of all, it keeps us stuck to our version of the story. It, it will not let us have another perspective. First is that. The other thing is, other person can never fully understand our narrative. Their thought process, their beliefs might be totally different. And so many things which they won't see in that narrative, which in the situation you could see and feel. Right? And the third thing is, it re traumatizes you. So if something really bad has happened, if you tell it to 10 friends, narrate it to 10 friends, you are reliving those emotions again. And the burden of that emotion increases in you, it doesn't decrease. So, what do? You talk about your feelings. I felt shocked, I felt so scared, I felt so vulnerable at that time. It was traumatizing. And whenever I say my feelings, the burden of those feelings and emotions inside starts reducing because I've said it and somebody's understood. And this is not difficult to understand. Everybody can understand sadness, everybody can understand shock. So, whenever there have been experiments when two people talking to each other in different languages and they didn't understand each other's language, so they couldn't understand the narrative, but they were asked what were the feelings expressed by the other person. Now, they don't know the language, they didn't understand the narrative, but they could tell the feelings. So, feelings are common. Everybody feels sad, everybody has felt shock, everybody has felt vulnerable, ashamed, scared. Degree might be different, but everybody knows that emotion. And from your expressions and from your body language, they can make out the degree you went through. So, talk about your feelings and emotions instead of the narrative, because narrative will keep you stuck, narrative will not be fully understood, and narrative will re traumatize you.
Thank you so much, Shama, for giving us these tools to understand and acknowledge our feelings. It is important for us to know what we like and especially what we don't like. So, in order for people to increase their vocabulary and understand the needs as well as the feelings, we will be putting down in the description box the links to these websites that have a list of all the feelings and the needs.
Thank you, Siley. And as you said, we will share the list of needs and feelings. And I will next time I will tell more about NVC and what are needs and how to relate needs to feelings. And we'll do more work on NVC. And it's a very good structured format and very defined format to communicate with yourself as well as others. It's a little bit challenging in the beginning to communicate with others in NVC because not the other person doesn't know NVC, but to communicate with yourself, it's excellent, and from day one, it is useful.
Sure. And to know more about feelings, needs, and how to satisfy them, subscribe to my channel and stay tuned to the podcast. Until then, stay at home, stay safe, and see you in episode number 4.